Okay, so this is what we're going to focus today, SPM literature, techniques for answering questions effectively. Okay, so I know that I talked about how we are going to recap poems, but it is almost impossible for me to go through the poems thoroughly one by one because it will take a long time to do that. So what we're gonna do is that for Lulu, I understand that some of you haven't gone through the poems with your teacher before mid-semester break, right? So I think Miss Shima has shared the link that you can read on Google Classroom. So you can do that later. But I'll be going through the poems quickly with you. But basically, if you want to study poems, the things that you need to do is basically these four things. So recapping poems. Okay, so what you need to do first is when you read the poems, you have to make sure that you understand all the words in the poem. Okay, so make sure that you know the meanings of the word and generally the meaning of each stanza and also the meaning of the content of the poem as a whole. Okay, themes and moral values. So that's basically what you need to do. Okay, all right. So questions. I asked you to make it specific, and these are some of the questions that I find good. Okay. So for example, here from Sarah Adriana. So you talked about Lulu. Whether or not you wanted to clarify whether or not Lulu was kidnapped or did she run away, right? So basically for Lulu, it's not directly written there. So there are few possibilities that could happen, but generally we would say that she ran away. Why? And about the ragdoll, why did she leave it behind? Some of you think that bila dia tinggal ragdoll tu maksudnya dia kena culik. But not necessarily. It could mean because ragdoll ni kan patung kan. Normally people would have it when they were younger, and when they grow into adulthood, some of you don't want to have it anymore. You don't care about your dolls anymore. So that's why we think that Lulu left the doll because she has grown up. Okay. From sekejap, ada lagi tak Lulu? Okay, yang lain okay, Charge of the Light Brigade from Amalia Kaisara. Why in the poem the Charge of the Light Brigade has team patriotism? Okay. First of all, you need to understand that the Charge of the Light Brigade is actually a true story. It's written based on a true event happened in the, I can't remember which century was it, but I think in the early 1800s, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so this was a poem written by someone who did not go to war. He was at home, safe at home, I think. And then when the news of the soldiers died, it saddened the whole country, and this person wrote the poem. Okay, so basically this poem is written to appreciate the soldiers' sacrifice, and they look at the soldiers as someone who were loyal, and someone who were very patriotic towards the country. Okay, because they were willing to die and they were willing to fight until their last breath. Okay, in order uh, to uh, to save their country. Okay, from Nur Afifah Faiza. In the poem, in the poison tree poem, I did not understand why the persona planted the tree. Is it because he wanted to have revenge towards his enemy? And Anas also talked about the poison tree, although in Malay, tapi the questions is still good. Okay. Teacher, yang poison tree punya poem kan, memang dia besarkan poem dia dengan kemarahan ke? Ataupun tu kiasan? So you want to know whether he actually grew an actual tree or is it just a metaphor, right? For poison tree, the tree is actually a metaphor. It is not an actual tree. Bukannya kau marah lepas tu kau pergi tanam pokok kat luar. Tak.
Yang kau marah lepas tu kau pergi tanam pokok kat luar. Tak.
Okay? It's not like that.
Okay? It's not like that.
It's okay, it's
Good to
okay.
hear.
Okay. So basically, for poison tree, the idea is you are very angry at a person, you are furious. And then because you are furious, you talked about your anger and you talk about how your anger grew. So that is basically what poison tree is. Dia cerita macam mana kemarahan dia makin lama makin besar. So this poet, dia he compare it to to growing a tree. Okay, so if you water the tree, if you give it enough sunlight, then the tree would grow well. So it's basically what anger is. If you when you are angry at a person and you keep having all these bad thoughts towards how you are feeling at that time, of course your anger will grow. So basically that's the idea of poison tree. Okay, from Inshira. I don't understand what the question want, like what whether it's stated at the poem or its meaning. I think this is especially for poison tree, because for poison tree there are two parts. For other poems macam the living photograph, the Charge of the Light Brigade, and also what has happened to Lulu, it's very straightforward. They're talking about whatever happened at that time. However, for poison tree, there are two parts. There's something yang metaphorical and something in reality. Metaphoricalnya, apa yang metaphornya adalah the growing of the tree. But in reality, they talk about the anger. We will look at the questions later. Sebab that is one of the questions that a lot of you got wrong. Okay. I will answer Inshira questions later. Okay. And also, I get confused to choose the answers because the answers given are similar. Okay, in the real exam, you will not be given choices. Okay, you will be given open-ended question. It is actually a subjective question where you need to write your response. You will not be given choices. The reason why I give you choices was that I compiled all the common errors that the students previously got wrong. So I letak je jawapan-jawapan yang students selalu buat salah, and then a lot of you chose the wrong answers. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at that also later. Okay, so let's look at living photograph. Let's just go through the poem quickly. Okay. My small grandmother is tall there, straight back, white broderie on his shirt, pleated skirt, flat shoes, grey bun, a kind old smile round her eyes, her big hand holds mine, white hand in black hand, her sharp blue eyes look her own death in the eye. Okay, so this goes to the question of the persona hari tu kan. So who is the persona? And then if you look at the first line, it said that my small grandmother. If you say that my small grandmother is tall there tu refers pada the picture. So basically the poet is describing whatever it is in the picture. So if you say my grandmother is over there, so you are the grandchild. Okay. Some of you, normally dalam exam, some of you would be writing grandson or granddaughter. I think that is also acceptable. But if you want to make it genderless, neutral, gender neutral, you can just write grandchild. Okay. It was true after all that look. My tall grandmother became small. Her back round and hunched, her soup forgot to boil. She went to the awful place grandmothers go, somewhere unknown, unthinkable. Okay, so the words that you might need to be sure of are awful place. Awful is very bad. It's the opposite of awesome. Awesome is something that you said when you're feeling very pleased, right? So awful ni sangat teruk lah. Awful. Okay. So in the first stanza, So in the first stanza, basically what happened was that the poet was describing the picture. So because whatever that happens in the picture, it is actually like frozen kan. For example, if you look at your pictures when you were 5 years old, memang awak kecil lah masa tu. Tak, macam mungkin comel lagi, sekarang kurang comel. Tapi at that time you were cute, right? So the poet is just describing whatever happens in the picture back then. So kalau orang yang mati dah sekarang pun, in the picture, they still look young. They still look healthy. Okay, so that is what happens in the first stanza. In the second stanza, the poet actually talks about what happened in reality. In the first stanza is about in the photo, basically the past, right? So this is the present. So basically the grandmother died. Okay. So my tall grandmother became small. So if you see old people, they used to be very tall. And then when they grow older, they are not so tall anymore because their back round and hunched sebab dia makin membongkok, sebab dia makin rendah. Okay. Her soup forgot to boil. Okay, this is one of the most important lines that you need to understand. Basically, the grandmother became older, senile, and forgetful. Makin tua lah. Okay. And then in the end, she went to the awful place. Maksudnya, she died. The most common interpretation is the grandmother died. Okay. Somewhere unknown, unthinkable. Maksudnya something yang something that is mysterious to us. Kalau awak kata dia pergi rumah orang tua, it's not really mysterious. You still know how the place would be like. There's still possibility that you can go and see her. But if the grandmother died, if someone dies, you just don't know what happened to the person. You don't know where they are. You don't know what that place looked like, right? So that is why we assume that the grandmother died. Sebab unknown, unthinkable. You just don't know what happened. Okay? You just don't know how the place looks like. But there she is still in the photo with me at 3. The crinkled smile is still living, breathing. This is also talked about the photo. Okay? So this is a poem written by the grandchild to the grandmother. Alright? This is the charge of the Light Brigade. Sorry. No. Tak do I? Tak nak? Okay, the charge of the Light Brigade. So this is a story about how 600 soldiers went to a war and they lost the battle and they died. Okay, that's the general story. Okay. Going into details, it talks about the soldiers' loyalty and bravery and determination. Okay. Because, kenapa kita kata loyalty and bravery? Not just because they went to a war, but because they knew that they were going to lose the war. Diorang tahu diorang akan kalah because they did not have enough equipments with them. That is why they were called the Light Brigade. Sebab dia tak ada peralatan yang cukup pun. Okay? As opposed to Heavy Brigade. So, and then we talked about the most important line of this poem is, was there a man dismayed? And also, someone had blundered. This is the most important parts. Because a lot of questions, they were balik-balik tang ni je. Why? Because it's not just a story of how the soldiers went to a war, but it's also about how someone made a mistake. Which one is the word for the mistake? It is blundered. Okay. So blundered maksudnya ada orang yang buat salah. and the mistake was giving order for them to go to the valley of death. Okay, why? Because of all the factors lah, they did not have enough weapons, and they might think that the place doesn't have an enemy there, but apparently there were like penuh je enemy kan, cannons to the left, cannons to the right, cannon to the right, cannons to the left ni kan. Maksudnya sebenarnya kawasan tu penuh dengan enemy. They were outnumbered. Okay. What is outnumbered? Outnumbered maksudnya lebih. Diorang sikit, diorang ramai. Okay, enemy tu ramai. Okay. So, walaupun the soldiers knew that the order was wrong and they would die, but they were not dismayed. Dismayed ni maksudnya takut-takut ataupun macam negative feeling lah, yang you rasa macam what's the point of going, ataupun you feel alarmed. Okay, so even though they knew that it was something that is wrong, they still went into the battle because of their loyalty towards the country. Okay, so that is basically what the poem is about. So let's look at what happened to Lulu. What has happened to Lulu? Okay, what has happened to Lulu? What has happened to Lulu, mother? What has happened to Lulu? There's nothing in her bed but an old rag doll, and by its side a shoe. So if someone is calling out to someone else as mother, so this person would be a child. Okay, tapi if the question asks you who is the persona in what has happened to Lulu, you cannot just say a child because it is too general. Sedangkan dalam poem ni, the persona is quite specific because we have a name for one of the characters there. We're talking about Lulu, but the persona is not Lulu because Lulu is not there anymore. The persona is actually the younger sibling, Lulu's younger sibling. You have to write down Lulu's younger sibling because if you write down younger sibling saja, it could be just anyone. It could be your younger sibling, but you did not run away from home. Okay, you're still there at home, stuck. So, if we ask you the question, the persona of what has happened to Lulu, it should be clear, it should be specific. You have to write down Lulu's younger sibling. Okay. So basically what has happened to Lulu is it's written based on the point of view of a young child asking the mother of what happened to Lulu. Okay, because Lulu is not there at home and the younger sibling is wondering, is there any problem? Why is Lulu not there? Why is this and why is that? If you have younger siblings, you would notice that your younger siblings ask you a lot of questions, right? That's the characteristics of a young person. You ask a lot. Kenapa rama-rama tu cantik? Okay, for example lah. Okay, so it's the nature of a young child to ask a lot of questions as they are growing up. So this is talking about Lulu, and we assume that Lulu ran away from home because of this part. I woke to voices late last night. I heard an engine roar. Okay. So basically we know that there were some arguments, okay, last night, and then bila kita kata an engine roar, it means that someone left, and that someone is actually Lulu. Okay. And then we can also assume that the mother did not want Lulu's younger sibling to know because of her age. Okay, so that is what has happened to Lulu. A poison tree is about you being mad at someone and the anger grows. Generally, that is what it's about. Okay, so it's saying about I was angry with my friend, I told my wrath. So if you are angry at someone and you told whatever that makes you upset, you will feel better. Okay, but if you are angry at someone and you do not tell them that you are angry and you do not discuss about what makes you angry, in the end it will make you angrier. So that is basically what the poem means. Okay, so the poet did not actually grow a tree. It is only a metaphor. The tree is a metaphor for his anger. Okay, and because the anger initially was not resolved, the anger grow bigger and bigger, and in the end, it is said that the enemy died sebab my foe outstretched beneath the tree tu kan. So the general interpretation is that the enemy died. And basically kalau kita cuba nak interpret, when you become angrier and angrier at someone, in the end you would just like meletup, blast, right? So if you suddenly like blow up macam tu, then it will create a bigger problem, I think. Mungkin masa awal-awal tu, maybe you are angry for petty reasons, but in the end, the cause of your anger would become bigger and bigger. Ignore them. What ignore them? Can you specify? Ignore the enemy. It's not really ignoring sebab you just keep it quiet. You don't share what makes you. Does it mean that when you get angrier, end up you ignore them for good? Some people when they get angry, you just ignore them, right? You just couldn't care less. Okay, that could be one effect of not talking about your anger. But in this case, I think because we don't really know the fruit apple tu refers to what. So I think it could be a worse action. For example, bila you dah benci seorang, maybe you become too toxic and you create rumors about that person just to make other people hate them, you know. You hate them for a specific reason, but because you hate them, you want to make other people hate them. So maybe you are doing that to that person. Okay, so it's not just about ignoring, sebab sometimes ignoring can be macam tak affect someone negatively kan. Tapi in this poem, the anger give a negative impact on the enemy. So in the end, it could be something worse happening. Okay. So let's take a look at the question. Techniques for answering questions effectively. Okay. Why is it important to learn about techniques to answer effectively? If you look here, this is your result for content. I gave you a quiz on Charge of the Light Brigade and also a quiz on Poison Tree. Okay, so this is the maximum. And this is the maximum marks. And you can see that most of you managed to answer to get quite high marks. Okay, sini pun sama. The graph is over there towards the end of the maximum marks. Okay, so it means that you actually understand the poem. if you answer the poem by yourself. Okay, so it means that you understand the poem. You know what the poem generally is about. However, for the next question, the quiz that I gave you last time, okay, it actually tests on your answering skills, and this is your results. Okay, so basically this is the maximum marks, 15. The lowest marks is over here, 0. Okay, so as you can see, the median, the average is over here. So it means that even though you know the poem, what it's about, but you lack the right techniques to answer. Okay, so which is why we are going to look at the types of questions. Okay, common questions for poem. I hope that you have your past paper book at home, because I gave you homework for the mid-semester break kan. So if you flip through the book, you can see that the questions on poem, dia ada 5 sahaja, 5 markah saja. Okay, it should be 5 easy marks for you. However, because of the common errors that you did, sometimes you can only score 1 or 2 marks out of 5, which is sayang, because you want to score as high marks as possible for paper 2. Okay, common questions ada 4 sahaja. When I look at the questions lah, the first question would be, who is the persona of the poem? Okay, and second question would be, which word, which phrase, or which line? In which, this is actually the question that many of you got wrong. Okay, and then the content. The content ni, you understand the content, but when you wrote your responses, normally what happened is your responses is not effective in making us understand. Okay, and then the last part is HOTS question, higher order thinking skills. Normally they will ask you about your opinion, or something that is not straightforward, something yang bukan directly can be taken from the poem. Okay, first of all, let's look at the first question, which is the persona. Okay, so the persona, the first thing that you need to understand, the persona is normally not the writer or the poet. Okay, for SPM questions, they would ask you the persona that is fictional, maksudnya karakter tu direka. Okay, persona is basically the character in the poem, the one that is talking in the poem. Okay, so for the living photograph, the persona is the grandchild. Okay, the charge of the light brigade, normally dia takkan tanya awak pasal persona. Why? Because there is no fictional persona. Dalam poem tu, dia tak ada karakter yang direka khas untuk cerita pengalaman dia. Faham tak? So, no fictional persona. The poet tulis tu berdasarkan apa yang dia rasa. Macam tu lah. Okay, so there's no fictional character. Fictional ni maksudnya yang direka, okay? What has happened to Lulu? There is one fictional character. In fact, there is actually 3 characters. Tapi from the point of view of Lulu's younger sibling. By the way, my handwriting is prettier than this. Okay? It's just that awkward nak tulis sikit.
Okay, teacher.
Okay. A poison tree, no fictional persona. No fictional persona. So, you have to remember, biasanya kalau soalan tu tanya pasal persona, normally question yang ni ataupun yang ni. Sebab dua poem ni sahaja yang ada fictional persona. Okay? Which word, phrase or line? Okay, this is one of the questions that I think I paling letak banyak soalan ni. And then a lot of you did not answer this correctly. Okay? If the question asks you which word, you write one word. Dia tak ada S dia singular word. Okay? If the question asks you which phrase, you write more than one word tapi tak sampai satu line. If the question asks you which line, you write down the whole line. Faham? This kind of question actually keluar juga untuk section C SPM. Dia akan tanya juga which word, which phrase and which line. And surprisingly or not, this is actually one of the questions yang korang salah juga dekat section C. And this question actually drive me crazy if you get it wrong. Sebab soalan ni biasanya senang. Okay, tapi you get it wrong because you did not look properly at the keyword. Okay, so if the question asks you which word, you answer one word. For example, if you look at this line, okay, if this is from a poison tree, okay, if I ask you the question, which word refers to the enemy, so the answer would be foe. You write foe sahaja. Okay. If the question asks you which phrase shows that the enemy saw the apple, phrase tak sampai satu line tapi dia mesti lebih daripada one word. So if the question asks you which phrase shows that the enemy saw the apple, you know that the apple is eat kan. So it's either kena adalah perkataan beheld it. It's either you write beheld it or you write beheld it shine. Okay. Ataupun for beheld it shine could also probably be accepted. Okay. Tapi kalau awak tulis and my for beheld it shine, salah lah because that is not a phrase, that is a line. Okay. If the question asks you which line tells you that the enemy saw the apple, you write down the whole line. And my foe beheld it shine. Okay? That is how you answer this question. Which line? The poem tells us that the grandma has become forgetful. Okay? I do not recommend you to write number of the lines. Sebab satu, you could be writing a wrong number. Okay? And basically, I don't want you to risk that. That is the only reason why I don't want you to write the number of the line. Kalau soalan tanya which line, awak tulis je the whole line. Jangan tulis pasal nombor langsung. Just write down this line. Okay? That's how I want you to answer this question. Ini pun sama. Which line tells you? Macam-macam orang jawab. Line 6 lah. Stanza 1, line 5, line 8. This is the problem if you write the number. Sebab if you could know the answer, which one is the answer, tapi bila awak cuba nak translate kepada the number of the line, awak salah. So I don't want you to risk that. So in order to minimize or to get rid of the risk, you just write down the line. Okay, for the content, normally dia akan tanya soalan ni je. What do you think happened to some characters? How did someone feel when? The relationship between characters and what and why specific event. For example, what do you think happened to the grandmother? Or what do you think happened to Lulu? What do you think happened to the soldiers? Okay, so that is basically the kind of questions that they will give you. And if you know the content, you would not have any problems answering. Provided awak jangan tulis secara malas. In which maksudnya jangan tulis something yang we need to to figure out what you mean. Okay, awak kena tulis clear lah. Tapi I do not recommend you to write terlampau panjang sebab nanti biasanya normally it gets like messy sometimes. Okay, so not too short and not too long. Okay. How did someone feel when? Okay, so this kind of questions pun dia akan keluar juga beberapa kali kan. For example, in the charge of the Light Brigade, how did the soldiers feel when they were going into the battle? Right? Ataupun how did the mother feel when apa? Betul tak? So this kind of questions also come out. Okay? And you need to understand that for soldiers to charge of the Light Brigade, you cannot say that they were afraid because they were not. Okay, it is specifically said there, not was there a soldier dismayed? Not though they knew. Maksudnya ada tak orang yang takut? Tak, tak ada yang takut walaupun dia orang tahu. Dalam poem tu dia dah specifically cakap pasal how did the soldiers felt? How did the soldiers feel? Okay. The relationship between characters. For example, what is the relationship ataupun how do you think the relationship between the grandchild and the grandmother in the living photograph? You can say that they are very loving ataupun they are very close. Kenapa? Sebab the grandchild describe the grandmother very lovingly. Dia cakap semua yang baik-baik je, positif, macam describe secara macam very loving. Okay? And why specific event? Ada jugalah sometimes. Common errors when you answer this type of question is that sometimes your answer is unclear. So we have to guess what you were trying to say, and this is not a good response lah. If you, kalau jawapan korang tu membuatkan examiner terpaksa teka, then it's not a good technique. It's not a good response. Okay. If it is factually incorrect, of course lah salah. Okay. And also, the last common error is not the right keyword. For example, kalau question tu tanya why, maksudnya sebab kan? And then you give a what. Okay? I think there's one example that I will show you later. Okay? So, I was talking about not the right keyword kan? This one, I think. Okay. This is about not the right keyword. How old was the persona? Okay, if someone asks you, how old are you? You can reply by saying 17. Or you can say 17 years old. Okay?
3 years ago.
Okay. 3 years ago ni memang salah lah. Because it is not macam 3 tahun lepas. So, berapa umur awak? 3 tahun lepas. Does it answer the question? Kan? Right? However, this is the question, the kind of responses that we have gotten in the previous years. Okay? Sebab apa awak translate daripada bahasa Melayu? Berapa umur awak? 17 tahun. So, awak rasa bila, kalau kita tukar dalam bahasa Inggeris, how old was the persona? 3 years. That is not grammatically correct, and it doesn't really answer the question. Okay, so it's either you write the number 3 or you write 3 years old or spell it 3 years old. Okay, you don't say how old? 3 years. Okay. Okay. Based on stanza 2, what do you think have happened to the grandmother in the end? Okay. This is a good response. She was dead, became old and died. This one is taking from the the poem kan. But the question here asks you, what do you think have happened? So you can rephrase your own sentence. You do not have to take it from the poem. Okay, you do not have to take the lines from the poem. You can say she died. Okay, that is enough. the grandmother probably died. She become forgetful ni, salah She became forgetful, salah. Sebab apa? What do you think have happened to the grandmother in the end? So, akhir sekali apa jadi dekat grandmother dia tu? Okay, so it's not just setakat forgetful, she actually died. Okay? Okay, this is the charge of the Light Brigade. How did the soldiers felt? How did the soldiers feel sebenarnya? This is one grammatical error. How did the soldiers feel when they went into the battlefield? Okay. This is what I mean by wrong keyword tu tadi. Kita tanya pasal feeling. Tapi some of you might write down loyal. Loyal is not a feeling. Loyal is a characteristic. Okay. So you can say feeling, they feel brave. They were not afraid. Okay. Dia tak takut. They feel determined. Okay. So you can write that. Okay. But they don't just feel loyal. Okay. Afraid ni kita tak terima because that is totally not what they feel. Okay. Next one. This one is from Lulu. What has happened to Lulu? Okay, what woke the persona from his sleep? Okay, so this one you kena tengok kepada poem tu balik lah. I woke to voices late last night. So dia bangun tu sebab bunyi orang bercakap. So the answer is voices. Okay. Based on stanza 6, how does Lulu's mother feel? Stanza 6. What has happened to Lulu? In stanza 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why do you wander about as though you don't know what to do? Wander about ni maksud you jalan ke hulu ke hilir. Bergerak sana sini, ke hulu ke hilir. Ke sana ke sini. Okay. So, bila orang bergerak dekat tempat yang sama, ke sana kemari ni, basically they are worried because you're starting to panicking. You don't know what to do. Okay. You kan tuliskan, you don't know what to do. Why do you wander about as though you don't know what to do? Maksudnya, she's starting to feel worried. Okay. Content tadi kan. Okay. This one is apple. Poison tree. A poison tree. And it grew both day and night. Okay, I think this one is the question that was asked by earlier tadi. Siapa tadi nama? Inshira. I get confused because what the question want, like what is it stated in the poem or its meaning? Okay. So, and it grew both day and night. When we look at the pattern of the questions, if the question is asking like what does it refer to, the word it ni refers to literally in the poem. Dalam poem tu literally dia cakap pasal a tree kan. So you refer to the poem, you answer exactly what the poem you write down the answers exactly how the poem is about. Okay. Bukannya interpretation, bukannya apa yang awak cuba rungkaikan maksud dia, tapi lebih kepada apa ayat tu exactly cakap. So dalam poem Poison Tree, ya Kalis, you raise your hand. Sekejap. Tapi I tak mau annotate. You ni kenapa you nak annotate sebenarnya? Kalis, you raise your hand. Why? Mana chat? Ter.
Sorry.
Tak apa, tak apa, tak apa. Okay. Okay. So, kalau soalan ni dia tanya macam poison tree ni kan, what does it refer to? You answer specifically literally dalam poem tu pasal apa? Sebab dalam poem, literally dia cakap pasal pokok yang membesar. So, you cakap lah pasal pokok tu. Okay, you tak interpret pokok tu sebenarnya apa semua tu. You just cakap the tree or poison tree. Okay? I hope this answers your question, Inshira. Okay? Okay. Next. Is this the end of... Sekejap. I don't want to end it. Okay, this is the end of content. Let's look at... Yang ni pasal line tadi. Okay. Which line in the poem that tells us that the grandmother has become forgetful? Yang ni kan? Okay, yang ni kita tak tengok lagi. Which phrase refers to the letter written by Lulu? So, that note, crumple that note pun, crumple that note, it's not refers to the letter saja dah. Yang ni refers to the action already. Okay, that note on the fire pun boleh, ataupun that note. And why do you crumple that note on the fire? Tak terima because it is a line. Okay. Crumple that note pun tak diterima because it is starting with the verb crumple. So, dia lebih kepada fokus kepada action of crumpling. Crumpling ni maksudnya renyukkan. You ada kertas, you renyukkan, crumple. That is crumple. Okay. But we are only talking about the letter. So, the letter is actually the note. Okay. Ataupun that note. You just yang tu saja. The persona used tricks. Which line in the poem refers to these tricks? Okay. This is the question yang teacher tersalah bagi jawapan. So, the answer is actually and with soft deceitful wiles. So, these students, okay, these students, 36 orang. These are the names. So, what you answered last time was actually correct untuk soalan tu. Untuk soalan tu sahaja. Yang tu je yang teacher tersalah select jawapan. Okay? I realised it a bit later. So, which line? Okay? So, faham yang ni teacher tersalah bagi jawapan. The right answer is actually and with soft deceitful wiles. This is actually a phrase. Sebab dia tak sampai satu line pun. Yang ni pun. Which line tells us that the persona's enemy noticed the apple? Only 31 got it right. Only 31 students select this answer. Okay? Alright. So, let's look at content. Okay. Okay, HOTS. Okay. For HOTS question, normally dia akan tanya awak your opinion on the decisions of the characters. For example, macam soalan hari tu, why do you think that the soldiers still follow the order even though they know that they were going to die? Okay. Ataupun, what is the reason for teenagers to run away from home? Okay. It could also be, what are the reasons for the soldiers to follow the order? Okay. Ways to overcome. For example, last time, give 2 ways to overcome anger. Kan? Characteristics and justification. For example, the question could be, give 1 characteristic of the soldiers and the reasons for your answer. Okay, so it needs to be correct to the keyword lah. Sorry. I bagi examples of bad question. Okay, kalau good response, dia adalah clear and straightforward and it is positive. Maksudnya positif kat sini, maksudnya you learn something from the poem. You learn something positive from the poem. And the answer should be clear and straightforward. Clear and straightforward maksudnya I don't have to guess what you were trying to say. Okay? Examples of a bad response. This is an example of a bad response. Okay? Untuk what has happened to Lulu, untuk soalan why did the teenagers run away from home? Why teenagers run away from home? General question. Kenapa remaja banyak lari dari rumah? Okay? Kenapa generally kalau it is a bad response if you are giving just one word or the answer is unclear ataupun the two answers that you give is similar to each other. For example, this question, this answer, stress and depression, it is quite similar. You stress and you feel depressed. Technically it is not the same. It doesn't have the same meaning, but it comes from the same group of feeling. Depression is the worst part of negative feelings kan, that you sometimes, kalau stress tu biasa, you stress about something and then you get better. Depressed is a continuous feeling of sadness ataupun extreme sadness. Okay, tapi it is quite similar to each other. So this is not really a good response. This one is such an annoying response. Stupid and idiot. Why do teenagers run away from home? Stupid and idiot. Okay? It's basically the same thing. You're stupid and you're idiot. Right? It's the same thing. So if you write this kind of answers, in fact, stupid and idiot, I don't think that I will accept it as the reason. Kenapa orang nak bodoh-bodoh je lari pada rumah? You have to explain why. Okay? This one is quite unclear. Have a problem. It will be better. It's not that kita terus tak terima tau jawapan yang this what. But normally it is a response yang bukannya automatic terus dapat betul. The examiner needs to talk about it and discuss. Nak terima ke tak nak terima. And I don't want you to be writing answers yang membuatkan examiner have to debate whether or not we can accept your answer or not. Okay? So, you have to write answers yang examiner baca je, oh, ni betul. Okay? Ni satu lagi. Why do teenagers run away from home? Freedom. One word. It's very unclear. What do you mean by freedom? Okay? This is for, number 2 is for a poison tree. Ways to overcome anger. Eat some candy and bath. Yang ni one word kan? Tulislah take a bath. Okay? Take a bath to cool you down. For example. Yang ni langsung memang confirm salah. How? This is what I mean by the wrong keyword. The question asks you 2 ways to overcome anger. What is way? Cara, kan? But you are answering the reason why we need to overcome anger. Kenapa awak kena overcome anger? You are not answering macam mana kita nak control anger. So this is what I mean by wrong keyword. Okay? Pray and take wudu. This is quite similar. Both of them refers to your spiritual health. Okay? And sebenarnya, I do not really recommend you to write something very specific to your religion. Okay? Please write something that is more general. Okay? For example, you can still write pray, but the other answer should be something that is more general lah. For example, try to count until 10. Okay? And then, untuk soalan-soalan macam respon ni, it will be better if you number them. Number 1 apa, number 2 apa. Okay? Kalau in a real exam, I want you to be doing like that. Number 1 and number 2. Dalam real exam, awak tulis macam ni number them. So that tak adalah nampak macam ini adalah satu ayat ke ataupun dua respon yang berbeza. Okay, you don't want the examiners to guess. Okay, we are almost finished. Okay, I just nak share the last part of good response. This is HOTS lah lebih kurang. In your opinion, was it the right thing to do for the soldiers to follow the captain's command? Okay. Okay. Siapa yang jawab the first question? Why is it wrong? First thing, kalau dia soalan tanya, was it the right thing to do? Ataupun awak kena jawab dulu, yes or no. Tulis dulu yes or no. It's better to do that way. Sebab soalan ni biasanya dia akan bagi 2 markah. And then the first part is you telling whether you agree or you disagree. So you better write yes, comma, and then the reason. Was it the right thing to do? Give a reason. Yes, because they could die. This is a wrong answer because it is not logical. Awak kata it is the right thing to do. Ia adalah benda yang patut diorang buat. Tapi the reason doesn't logically follows. Kalau awak kata no, it is not the right thing to do because they could die, then the answer could be accepted sebab dia logical. Dia logik sebab dia menjawab kepada no. But in this question, it doesn't follow the yes. Okay. The second choice, no, they need to flee from the battlefield. Pun sama. Okay. Sorry. The second part is not about conflicting yes or no tu. Tapi it is not accepted because this is not a reason. They need to flee from the battlefield. Dia kena lari ni. They need to flee. Flee ni maksudnya dia kena lari. Okay. Maksudnya dia kena pergi jauh daripada battlefield tu. Jangan pergi. This is not a reason whether or not it is the right thing to do or not the right thing to do. This is you telling the examiner what they should do. Okay. So this is not answering the keyword. The keyword is kenapa it is the right thing to do or not the right thing. Okay. However, as I told you, it is better to write something that is positive. Walaupun no ni diterima sebab jawapan dia no because the captain's command was a mistake and they could die. This is logical. The reason follows the yes and no, yes or no. Tapi I encourage you to write something that is more positive, something that shows that you have learned something positive from the poem. Okay? Why do you think the soldiers followed the command despite knowing it was a mistake? Loyalty. I think in this case macam boleh diterima lagi, tapi sometimes the examiner would have to discuss whether it is enough for you to just write one word. Okay? But if you write because they are loyal, straight away, confirm, examiner tak payah nak dilema banyak kali, dia terus rasa, okay, this is a good enough reason. Okay? So, please write a full sentence yang senang nak faham. Okay? Because they are loyal. Okay? This is about Lulu. Why do some teenagers run away? Give 2 possible reasons. Short of sense. Okay, wants to be free. Okay, boleh? Stress of their parents' problems. Stress with their parents' problems, does not get enough love. This is quite similar because both of this refers to the family kan. Yang first pasal family problem, second pasal not getting enough love. So it is quite similar, tapi I think we can still accept both answers. I like this answer. stressed out because of the pressure from the parents. So this is talking about the family. The second part, influenced by other teenagers. Okay, so this is talking about an external factor, pasal peer pressure, pasal peer influence, bad peer influence. So this is, I like this response very much. Lack of love, parents are always busy. This is also quite similar sebab normally when you say lack of love ni, it's normally we are referring to family lah. Okay. Okay. Please use bullet point or number. Okay. We have 2 more responses. Okay, anger management is very important. Give 2 ways to manage anger. This is examples of good responses. Talk your anger out. Forgive and forget. Boleh lah. By listening to calm music, this is a good response. Semarah tu dengar lagu macam yang menenangkan. Okay. By being forgiving. Boleh lah. Okay. Think before you speak. Okay, so before nak cakap sesuatu tu, you need to think, right? We should think first before we speak because we might speak something that we might regret later. Justification ni sebenarnya is not really needed, but if you write it and it's clear, okay, tak apa. We should take our time to calm down before expressing our anger because sometimes when we are stressed, we are being insensitive over small thing. Okay, this is also a good response. Okay, tapi this is quite panjang. If you have good command of language, this is okay because you can explain it well. But if you feel that grammar is not your biggest strength, try not to write it panjang sangat because you might make a very confusing sentence. Okay, yang ni pun bagus. Talk the anger out to someone you trust. Okay, so cakap pasal whatever that makes you angry to someone that you trust and take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Okay, sebenarnya. So, tarik nafas dalam. So, this is also a good response. Okay. Honesty is the best policy. Do you agree? Support your answer with the reason. Maybe if we are close to the person, this is not a good response because satu, I don't encourage you to write something yang I know this is actually an answer yang I come up with. Tapi I want to tell you why this is not a good response. I don't encourage you to write something that is tak clear. You don't say maybe, so, jangan macam tu. It's better for you to write yes or no. Okay? And also, why this is wrong is because if we are close to the person, this is not a justification of honesty is the best policy. You are just saying that it's good to be honest if we are close to that person. So this is not a reason. Okay. Second, because we won't bottle up our feelings. This is also not a reason. Okay. And it's not clear. It is a good reason, but it is not clear whether or not this is a yes or no. Okay. So this is not a good response. Yes, we should be honest with everyone. This answer cannot be accepted. 80% out of 123. Daripada 123 orang yang jawab, 80 pilih jawapan ni. This is not a good answer because we should be honest with everyone is not a reason. Dia bukan sebab. You just extend. Yes, we should be honest with everyone. You don't tell why it is good to be honest. Okay? And this is a good response. Yes, because there would not be any misunderstandings. Okay? Okay, so I hope that you would have a good weekend and I'll see you next week. Okay? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay. Tak ada soalan kan? Yang teacher tak
Thank you, teacher.
Alright.
Thank you, teacher.
Have a good lunch, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, teacher. Bye. Teacher.
Bye.